Welcome to the Baylor Scott and White Wellness Webinar, How to Pack the Best Lunch. I just want to thank y'all so much for joining me for the webinar. My name is Paige Weaver, and I am the Wellness Coordinator that will be working with Hall Park this year. And I'm super excited to be bringing you today's webinar. Before we get started with the content, I thought I would tell you just a little bit about myself for those of you who don't know me. My background is in nutrition, and I have about 8 years of experience with wellness coaching. And so working with people one-on-one, talking to them, helping them to reach what goals they have set for themselves regarding their wellness is a passion of mine. I love it. I love talking about nutrition, exercise, stress management, aspects of total wellness. And so this webinar is right up my alley regarding the nutrition. And, you know, I like this is a pretty relevant topic to everyone. If I had it my way, I would eat at restaurants most of the time, not all the time. I know restaurants can get a little bit tiring too, but if I have my choice between brown bag lunch and going out to, let's say, La Madeleine to get lunch, I'm probably going to pick La Madeleine every time. And so I think talking about how to pack the best lunch and packing one that's appealing to you is important. And so today, I thought, since our theme is Outdoors Month, that's the theme for June, I thought we could talk about just the necessary supplies and how to go about packing a healthy lunch. What I plan on covering is the packing for that healthy lunch, the prototype for the healthy lunch, and I'm going to give you an actual plan. If you want something, you know, my clients are kind of all over the board. I have some clients say, I know what I need to do. I just need you to hold me accountable doing it. And then I have also people who say exactly what I need to do. So for those of you who do want kind of that hard and fast black and white plan, that within this tent as well. If you don't cover something that you have questions about or would want some additional information about, I would love for you to email me. And I would be happy to get back with you via email, or maybe we could even set up a time to chat. And so I will give you my information at the end of this session. And so if you don't have questions now, let's just get started. Okay, so we're starting with the packing of the healthy lunch. Now, this might sound kind of like a no-brainer. Why do we need to go over this information? But for me, especially if I'm trying to make a new healthy habit part of my routine, I need to remove any and all of the barriers and excuses I can create myself in order to make that I'm effective in creating that habit. And so I start with checking out I'm going to store lunch and what kind of capabilities I have as far as food prep at work. And so I'll just use myself as an example. We have a refrigerator and a microwave. But the fridge is configured in a way where you can't have stand lunch boxes, and so the tall, narrow ones wouldn't work in our fridge. And so I have to get a specific kind to where if I want to store a whole bag in there, you know, it has to fit in this certain space. And so I encourage you, if you can start packing health lunches for work, check out your break room, check out where you have to store your stuff, and make sure that you've got what you need in order to do that. Another thing to think about is what kind of capabilities do you have in there? Do you have a fridge? Some people don't have a fridge, and that's a whole other beast, but it can be done. It just requires some additional planning and preparation. Do you have a toaster oven? You know, what do you have in there that you could take into consideration when you plan your meals throughout the week you could use? And so that's where I would start. Another thing regarding packaging would be regarding your preferences. I might be the pickiest eater ever, but I don't like eating or food in plastic containers. I just don't like the idea of plastic touching food. You know, you hear about chemical plastic, and when things like that are heated up, aren't supposed to be heated up, some of the chemicals can leach out. It's a personal preference. I prefer to heat up my food container. And so I had to make a special trip to the store to get some containers that I could use microwave that are glass. That's just, I know how I am, and I know that I could use that as an excuse to not want to pack my lunches. So I have kind of, you know, broke the barrier by getting exactly what I need to lunches. And then regarding my preferences is I don't like to dishes. I don't like to wash a lot of Tupperware. And so for me, one of the I like to use is the bento box lunch boxes, where they've got little compartments and you can put all the food into one box, but it's still all separated and not touching. That's more appealing to me than having, you know, all separate containers containing all my different food items. And so already there's a little bit of a pattern here. I have kind of compiled some of the barriers, or some call them excuses, that I hear or that I experience in my own life to the goal of packing lunches more often. And I'm just trying to work through those in my personal life, and then also just trying to share that with y'all. And then last, I would just say keep it simple. You don't want to create a burden out of this project, because if this is just more difficult for you, the likelihood of you actually doing it goes down. So just keep it simple. Some of you might be wondering why I put this picture here. One of the facilities that I worked at as a wellness coordinator, every time I would go in to put my lunch into the refrigerator in the break room, there'd be this sign on the fridge that said, your food, you know, everyone's food is off limits but your own. And the note conveyed the message that people would get in there and eat other people's food. And that wasn't the first place that I've heard that happens, which to me that sounds crazy. I bet if you got this lunchbox that says human organ for transplant on the back, you wouldn't have to worry about anybody getting your food. So we talked about packaging to pack lunches for work. Let's talk about prototype. This is where a lot of people get caught up. You know, I've heard so many different things about what we should be eating in every meal. I'm confused. I have no idea what I should pack. And honestly, this doesn't have to be difficult. And I'm up with a little graph for you to use that includes all of the elements that I would like to see in a healthy lunch grouped out like this. And so it does not have to be difficult. There's no health information out there regarding nutrition, especially, you know, because it's a market. And even that aren't, you know, trying to sell you a product or something, like, for example, that just comes to my mind. You can eat legumes, and so yeah, what am I going to put in that meal, and what does that look like as a whole balanced meal, and how can I make sure I'm getting all my nutrients if I don't eat meat, or you know, what? There's just a ton of conflicting information out there too. And so what I do here is just boil it down and make it really simple and user friendly. Print this out, or just make your own little template. It's helpful for me. Even I have this printed out and it's hanging up in one of my cabinets in my kitchen. Just it helps me remember all of the elements to pack for my lunch. 6 elements. Let's start with the most fun part, and that is the element. And it kind of sounds silly, but really honest. For me to get excited about brunch, like I said, I've already shared with you, I prefer going out to eat for lunch. And I make sure that anytime I'm packing a lunch, I'm including something I'm going to look forward to eating. Whether that is a piece of chocolate, maybe a mixture of different fruit, like fruit salad with a little bit of whipped cream on it. It's something going to make me excited about that lunch, because when the clock rolls around and I'm looking in the fridge at what I brought and it's not appealing to me, I'm probably going to go out to get lunch. I mean, that's just my personality. So to try and pack something that, you're going to look forward to. Dark chocolate is another great option. Make your own. You can get prepackaged. You just want to watch the sugar that's contained in a lot of those mixes because sometimes they tend to be heavy on the chocolate and the little peanut butter pieces and the dried fruit, and that can actually, more of a calorie intake than you're meaning to. So, watch mix. It's everything in moderation, right? So a serving of trail mix or dried fruit or nuts is about a fourth of a cup. So you just want to try to make sure that you're watching your portion sizes with the elements. Another thing that I love to pack a lunch is dry fruit. And so there's one I go to where they have a bunch of bulk items and they have all kinds of different dried fruit. And they have this dried mango that in cayenne pepper. And so I know it sounds kind of weird, but it is awesome. And I just pack, a little serving of it in my lunch, and it's just something for me to look forward to. So if you're kind of one of those people who try new things, I would highly recommend the dried mango with cayenne. And, to take this a step further, if you're wanting to do this at home and you have a dehydrator, you can make your own dried fruit and put cayenne pepper on there or any kind of, cinnamon, any kind of fun seasoning that you like. And also a granola bar. I love Kind bars because they just have simple ingredients that taste good. So that element you definitely want to make sure is in your lunch. On to the second level. You'll have already heard this before, but try and make sure that you're having a serving of fruit and a serving of vegetables in every meal. Yes, in breakfast. And, I think it's like 88% of Americans, I read this recently, aren't getting the recommended amount of fruits and vegetables they should every day. And I find myself struggling to get 2 cups of fruit and 2.5 cups of vegetables a day. But you know what? That recommendation is even competitive. I think we should be shooting for way more than that. But it's a struggle unless you're intentional about what you're having. Because there's just so much more availability of the other food groups than fresh fruits and vegetables. So just sure you're in vegetable fruit. And so the vegetables can be any. And so think about like a side salad, or if you're having a wrap, make sure to put some fish in there. My favorite green personally is kale because I know it's super trendy, but it's because it's more durable. And so it get wilty and it keeps for much, much longer than mixed greens or spinach. And for myself, I'm more of a sturdy green kind of girl, but any of the greens are wonderful. Of course, you're probably going to want to stay away from iceberg because it's made up of basically water and not a lot of nutrients, but any of the dark green leaf veggies are such a great choice. We'll have raw veggies, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots. That's kind of what we're used to. And if you're trying to keep it simple, that's fine. I mean, the nutrition is the same in raw fruit veggies. Well, sometimes people say when you lose some of the minerals, and that is true, the vitamins and minerals. But for the most part, if you're serving, any fruits and veggies a day, that's wonderful. Another one of my favorite ways to have a veggie at lunch is a sweet potato. They're so easy to make. Microwave, depending on your microwave, you can look up and find how much time it needs to cook. But I love having a sweet potato with coconut oil on top of it and just a little bit of salt. It's full and it's delicious. And you can put anything you want on there. I saw someone put some steamed greens on top and then some pomegranate seeds, which sounds kind of crazy, and then some cheese, like feta or goat cheese. It depends on your taste preferences, whatever you like, but just maybe thinking outside the box about vegetables. It's not a raw, fruited top vegetable kind of person. I love mushrooms. I think mushrooms get overlooked a lot as a vegetable, but just sauteing them in a little bit of olive oil and just a tiny bit of salt, maybe some garlic. They're delicious. So this is the veggie element. So let's hop over to the fruit element. This is pretty self-explanatory. Love, just the fruits you can grab and go, like an apple or an orange, or those little clementines are one of my favorites. Any fruit is wonderful. Berries, make a berry blend if you like that. Banana, one of my all-time favorite snacks. I have almost every day, peanut butter and a banana. It's so simple, easy to transport, and I love it. It's savory and it's satisfying, and the protein in the peanut butter helps to keep me full. So I love that snack. And again, mango, one of my favorite snacks. What to do with mango, I love to cut it up, put some lime juice over the top of it, and a little bit of pepper. Just the flavor combination there is delicious, and it's one of my favorites. All right, now we're at the bottom level of our prototype model here, and I'm going to say it is 100% okay to have fat in your diet, and you actually should. That has gotten kind of a bad rap. What happened is things taste good. Manufacturers took out the fat, but they replaced it with something. So they either replaced it with sugar or salt. These fats are part of a healthy diet. You have to have fat in order to absorb some of the different vitamins and minerals in our food. For example, when you're sauteing veggies, olive oil on the veggies, the fat in the olive oil helps to absorb the fat-soluble vitamins in the vegetables. And so adding oil, maybe even a little bit of butter, dare I say, to the meal is not a bad idea. Of course, there are good fats and bad fats. I would definitely use butter in moderation. And different healthier types of butter out there. They're olive-based, olive oil-based, canola oil-based, all kinds. When I butter, I use it in such moderation that I actually use the full-fat regular butter. There's nothing better than just a little bit of butter on a roll or on vegetables or something, just to really make the flavors pop. Options would be avocado, nuts, eggs, fattish, flaxseed, chia seed, hemp seed. The omega-3s are found in those kind of nuts and seeds, and so all fat in meal, it's much better to choose the fats, the unsaturated, monounsaturated fats versus butter. But I'm a big proponent of everything in moderation. I also want to include a whole grain, and so a lot of people are scared away from bread, simple carbohydrates, and for good reason. It does make your blood sugar spike. It's not the best choice, honestly. It's calorie dense and deficient in nutrients. Any type of like white bread, even been enriched, it's just been super processed, and would definitely recommend switching all of your products to whole grain. Just a side note, I have done this in house, and it took a little bit of work. Honestly wasn't so hard. The tortillas, my husband really doesn't prefer whole wheat tortillas, but he'll do it. What I'll go with is with the pasta. We definitely prefer regular pasta over whole grain or whole wheat pasta. So what I do is I just do half regular, half whole wheat. To me, I can't taste much of a difference. Also, what I've found with the whole wheat pasta is if I get a little bit longer than the box says, I can get that kind of coarse, grainy, sandy taste to play. So you just got to work with it, play with things, and it all depends really on your preferences. So for some, it's not hard at all. Others, they struggle. So, and I'm not going to lie, instead of having whole grain or whole wheat pasta, I would much rather have like a quinoa or a brown rice even. So just keep that in mind. But all of these things fall under whole grain or whole wheat tortillas, pitas, bread, quinoa, brown rice, and whole wheat pasta. Last but not least, you're going to want to have some protein. Now, I think a lot of people think they need a lot more protein than they need, and especially those to think that the only source of protein is meat or dairy. It's really not true. So what I did here is I listed under protein, I put meat in there, but I also put some other options that people don't necessarily think about. So nut butter's got protein. Beans are such a great source of protein. Again, awesome source of protein, and then tofu for those who are a little bit more adventurous. So you're having some kind of protein within the meal. That's just going to help you stay fuller longer and ensure that you're getting that whole balanced diet. Shared with you typical brown bag lunch, and it's got a sandwich and a peach and a soda, hopefully diet, some carrots, and it's got some pretzels. This is, brown bag lunch. I would not get excited about that. I was, by the time lunch rolled around the next day and I looked in the fridge and saw that's what I had to eat, I just was excited about it. So what I want y'all to do is just to try and think outside of the lunch bag. There are you can do lunch that don't involve sandwiches. And looking for ideas, I'm going to share some with you this presentation, but Pinterest is a wonderful source to find just ideas if you're kind of running out of things. Make for some creativity or some inspiration, definitely get in there, or just Google box lunches. There's a lot out there that's not healthy, of course, and it's really more about what's actually in the lunch box. It's going to determine whether or not it's healthy. But what I'm here, like for example, let's start over here with this bean wrap. It looks like a whole tortilla with beans, carrots, some cucumber or zucchini. I see a little bit of couscous or quinoa in there, and then some type of Greek yogurt sauce. That sounds awesome. To me, that sounds much more appealing than a turkey sandwich on whole with mustard and a slice of cheese. But this is, you're just going to want to really dig in and think about what you like and try to create dishes that are appealing. Try to create dishes that you would choose to order off of a menu. And because, 9 times out of 10, you preparing that meal at home is going to be a lot more nutritious than if you're getting it at a restaurant, simply because we all know that restaurants put a lot of sodium in the meals. And so you're adding a little bit of salt to your dishes to make it taste, good. You're simply doing better than if you were to get that dish at a restaurant. So some ideas. Here, I just wanted to point out that, I bento style, because you can make sure that you're incorporating all of the elements that we discussed: the fruit, the veggie, the whole grain or whole wheat, the protein, the fat, and the yum. A lot of those categories are going to overlap. For example, peanut butter has fat and protein. So just make sure that you've got those elements in there, and really you have creative freedom to do whatever you want. Like the looks of this pasta salad here too. So you've got your whole wheat pasta, you've got vegetables, you've got a little bit of fat with the cheese, fruit and your veggies, and you've got a little bit of, the cheese would have protein too. So that's, your whole well-rounded, all you need is your yum. And for me, those Kalamata olives in there would be yum. I'm more of a salty person rather than sweet, and so that to me looks super appealing. Your own preferences, but really that's the most important thing that goes into planning your meals, because if you make these meals that you don't eat, what's the point? Okay, so we talked about packaging, we talked about prototype. Let's move on to plan. And so just a disclaimer here, expect you to love everything that's in the plan. This is kind of a template for you to use, and you can plug in some of your favorite dishes in here. Plugged in some of my favorite dishes, and I just want to show you exactly what I do, and hopefully you can just take away 1 or 2 tips about making this easier in your own life. And I'll say, after I share this plan with you, I also will offer a few different options to switch out. So for example, if you don't like white bean and spinach soup, I have other additional lunch ideas that I'll share with you. So let's start with the bottom row here. So the bottom row shows you what the lunches are going to be. Monday, I'm going to plan on having white beans and spinach soup with a little side salad. I'm going to plan to have Mexican quinoa with avocado and tortilla chips and fruit. Wednesday, I have white bean and spinach soup again. And then salad, and I'm also going to have a little banana muffin. And then behind that, it has when we roll around, I've already probably had the soup once, if twice, and I'm kind of not super jazzed about the soup, but I'm adding a little bit of the yum factor with the banana muffin that helped me to kind of look forward to the meal. And so that's Thursday. And then Thursday, I'm going to wrap a sweet potato and some fruit. And I'm going to have Friday, the Mexican quinoa with the avocado and tortilla chips again, fruit, and the banana muffin. So notes on top row here are in prepping these meals and what I need to do the day before in order to make sure my meal's ready the following day. Sunday is one of my favorite days to cook. I would much rather cook on Sunday than cook during the weeknights after work. And by the time the workday's over, when I get home, I've got kids, husband, house, laundry, everything, but that's just not the ideal time for me to cook. What I've started to do is just cook a couple things on Sunday to get me through the week, and it's worked out really, really well for me. So on Sunday, this plan would make my white bean and spinach soup, and I could prep anything that needed to be prepped for my salad, and pack my lunch for Monday, and I would also prep the ingredients for a quinoa dish Monday. Because the quinoa dish just so happens to be a crock pot meal. And so if you don't want to make that on Sunday, you could always prep the ingredients Sunday night, get everything ready to go, and then Monday just plug in the morning, and when at home, you've got that ready. What we typically do at our house is if I'm cooking something in the crock pot on Monday, we're going to have it for dinner, and then I'm going to take it again Tuesday for lunch. And so just going through what's the best day of the week for you to get some of this cooking done. And then on Monday, I want to make sure that I pack my lunch for Tuesday, which leftovers, Mexican quinoa with avocado and tortilla chips. And buy at the store are those beanitos chips that are black beans. They also make a pinto bean based chip. It's beanitos. But again, I mean, if this is ration and you're watching your portion sizes, feel free to have regular chips, but a better option would be the chips that are based, bean-based or something other than, the highly processed corn chips. So I have the quinoa, and I'm going to have a little bit of fruit. Tuesday, I'm just going to make sure that I pack my lunch for Wednesday, and I'm going to make muffins. And so Tuesday is a pretty good night for me. A bit of easy cooking. What happened here? Sorry. To do easy cooking because I tend to get off early, or my husband will be able to go to the store for me, and I can create something that's easier to do. So, and the time I'll have my 8-year-old help me, which he loves helping mom in the kitchen. It's kind of stressful, but it just works out. It works out well that way. Much better than me just trying to cook on my own. So Tuesday I'll make my muffins, and then on Wednesday for lunch, I have bean and spinach soup again, salad, and my banana muffin. And then Wednesday I will make sure that my lunch is packed for Thursday. Thursday I'm going to switch it up with a wrap. And this specific wrap, which I'll list the ingredients on the next slide, but it's going to have a Mediterranean wrap. It's got those Kalamata olives that I love, tomatoes, parsley, hummus, and quinoa for the protein in a whole wheat wrap or a whole wheat pita. My favorite things to pack. Also have a side sweet potato just because I don't know if you've noticed this yet. There's kind of a theme here. My lunches, I love to have something warm to eat. a complete cold meal isn't my preference. I'd love to have something a little bit warm. It just feels more like a meal if I'm eating something that's warm. And my cold wrap, I'm going to have a sweet potato and then some fruit. Tonight, I just want to pack my lunch for Friday, and I'm going to have the Mexican quinoa again with the avocado and tortilla chips. I'm going to have fruit and banana. Top row shows you what to do the night before, and then the bottom row is the actual meal plan for the week. I'll show you the ingredients for each of the dishes so that you have those. If you're to follow this meal plan exactly. And then here is a grocery list for this plan that I've laid out. It kind of looks like a lot, glance of the aisle ingredients you'll have on hand, and a lot of them are for the muffins. So the baking soda, the honey, the oats, the cinnamon, vanilla extract, flour, olive oil is over here. You'll have a lot of that stuff on hand. So the list isn't really as daunting as it looks, but the grocery list includes everything you need to abide by the plan that I proposed a couple slides up earlier. And it's that plan and the white bean spinach soup jot at you and you thought, oh no, I'm not going to do that. Or the Mexican quinoa dish just didn't look good too. Here are just some options for other meals. And so one of the soups is this red lentil soup. It's packed with protein, very, very, well, I'm not very, but it's relatively low calorie, delicious. The lemon and orzo soup is amazing. I love anything with lemon and orzo, those fresh flavors. I'm a big fan of those. And so recipe for that. That's another one that I do a lot. And I needed a different idea instead of the Mexican quinoa casserole. I'm a word up here, this casserole-ish. A couple other options would be dal, which is a healthy traditional Indian meal. And it's based with a legume of your choice. And so lentils, chickpeas, kind of other beans, basis of dal. And you typically put that with like a rice or a quinoa. And it's a lot of flavor. It's got curry and coriander, cumin, all kinds of spices that make it just super healthy. And, turmeric is such a healthy spice. It's got a lot of antioxidants. And so I always put turmeric in my dal as well. And then another thing would just be black beans and quinoa. That's more of just a simple dish if you're looking for something quick, easy to throw together that's going to keep you full, that reheats well. That's another option for you. Thing I like to do for lunch is making avocado toast. And so I'll toast some bread and I'll bring an avocado. And what I like to do is I mash up the avocado, put it on the toast, put a little bit of pepper, a little bit of red pepper flakes, a little olive oil, and then just a squirt of lemon. One of my favorite quick, easy, healthy lunches. Kids like it too. And then there are just some additional options regarding wraps. Mexican, one American, one Italian, one Asian, and the Mediterranean wrap that I shared with you in the meal plan that's got hummus and quinoa, a little bit of parsley, and lots of flavor in that one too. So this plan and what we proposed here just kind of helps you to think outside the box in regards to packing your lunch. And I just think it comes down to making things that you're going to want to look forward to eating. And of course, it's better to make healthy choices. There's healthy fats, there's not healthy fats. And for every other one of the elements in the prototype. But a lot of people, a lot of my clients look at nutrition and even their overall health as such a black and white issue. So people who start a new plan regarding, let's say, their diet or even diet, and they mess up one day or they mess up even one meal, like let's just say went off the rails at lunch. So many people say, and I even feel this sometimes, oh, well, I had a horrible lunch, so I'm just going to be bad for the rest of the day. Or I didn't work out yesterday or the day before, so I'm just not going to work out this week. And wellness really is not that black or white. There's so much gray. And I think as long as you're just kind of taking it piece by piece and doing your best and making small little changes in your routine, that's the best way to ensure that you're going to meet your goals. And so I just want to put the email address here in case you had any questions or wanted some additional information on any of this. And the recording will be available online after this session. Thank you so much for listening in. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, thanks again.